Time Talk's thoughts and prayers are with the families of the victims of the Paris attacks, as well as the Russian airliner explosion. As the situation escalates in Europe and the Middle East due to the Paris attacks, refugees continue to flood into Europe. The world is on edge. I'm here today with the lovely Miss King in the King's Corner, and she has a couple thoughts to share with us about ISIS and this new war on terror that we're going to have. So, without further ado, Miss King.
Hey, Vlad. Thank you so much for coming to chat.
Hey, no problem. Lovely to be here. So, the U.S., France, and Russia asked for assistance in fighting ISIS. This is interesting because the U.S. was recently against the Russian airstrikes taking place in Syria. How could this affect relations between the West and Russia if usually the West has an anti-Russian policy and Russia has an anti-West policy?
Well, this is why history is so important, guys, because if you studied in U.S. history or world history, you can see the tension between Russia and the United States, as well as Western Europe. But in today's stance, Russia can be a useful ally rather than be an enemy. But there can be a problem with this alliance because I think Russia has certain objectives that the U.S. or Western countries may be kind of against. But the big issue is that there are common objectives and clear objectives between containing ISIS and stopping and kind of controlling this terrorism that's really rampant in the West and throughout the world. But like I said, there needs to be clear objectives. You know, Russia has certain goals with Syria and Assad, but as long as the West, with Russia, can get it straight on here's what we're going to do to contain ISIS, then I believe it can work hand in hand. But as far as after this issue,
Do you think it'll stay the same as it used to be?
As today, more like Russia is Russia, and we're over here, and
We're not getting along, basically.
Right, I think
All
it's
right.
still going to be Russia has its,
Yeah.
and we're going to be,
Right. Makes sense?
yeah.
All right. What do you believe ISIS's main goals are, besides terrorizing the population?
Well, terrorized population, bottom line, eradicate Western influence, eradicate Christianity. I believe to instill so much fear that our daily activities, things that we like to do as far as concerts, going to certain places, even like in France, going to cafes, they're doing things to instill terror in us in our daily lives. So bottom line, you know, just they want to bring terror, they want to bring fear, they want to bring power, they want to bring dominance. And definitely it's against the Christian or the Western influence culture.
All right. Now, in the wake of these recent attacks on Paris and Russia, do you think that the U.S. is a high risk to be the next target?
Yes.
Saying that ISIS has declared that they will attack?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that we're not, what's the word that I'm looking for? We're not dismissed from any terror attacks. And, you know, I tell my students that even with 9/11, I mean, you had the attackers that lived amongst society for over a year planning and, you know, trying to plan out what they were going to do for their attack. And, you know, for over a year they were here. And I'm not saying that there's going to be a big attack, but I am saying that we just need to be on high alert. And, you know, certain policies need to be put in place to try to eliminate potential threats and things like that.
All right. Why do you think the nation's so divided in Syria and letting in the refugees?
Personally, okay, on a personal account, I have seen through Facebook different posts from different people. I've seen the pro-humanitarian effort on allowing these refugees in our country, and I've seen the more conservative or, you know, what's the word I'm looking for, where you're not warning, but more of a safety precaution.
Yeah.
So, but bottom line, I believe with Syrian refugees, you've got two threats. One is the threat of, are they posing as refugees and coming into our nation, and actually who are pro-ISIS that can bring with them, you know, attacks and other types of hostile situations. And then two, with these refugees comes attacks from ISIS. I mean, ISIS has said that whoever's holding our refugees, we will come after you or pose terror upon you and things like that. So you've got this issue, okay? So here these people are, they need help, they're fleeing from situations of violence, terror, utter hell on earth, to put it blatantly, and they're coming to a safe haven. And, part of me is like, yes, these people need help, and that's what America stands for, but another part of me says, well, as far as having open borders, allowing them to come and blend into society and just kind of trickle their way into amongst population, that's not a very safe policy either. Mm-hmm. So what is the best policy? I think there's certain things you can do as far as having contained areas where, as far as access to move freely in and out, as far as, that can be a situation or an option, and you can have other options as far as other remote locations or having certain checks and things like that. But I mean, just they're coming over here with no documentation, no money, so it is hard. What are you supposed to do? What is the best way?
Right.
And it's just scary and controversial topic. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. So, if the decision to act against ISIS, if the decision is granted to act against ISIS, do you believe we're going to act decisively, or is it going to be like our war of terror in Afghanistan and Iran and Iraq, where we just kind of halfway went there and it took a long time to get things done?
I think with the administration we have right now, and especially the time of year that it is, and with elections being a year away, you have people who will be very decisive, like Donald Trump, who flat out says we should bomb the snot out of them. Mm-hmm. And you have others who are more kind of prance around the topic. But I think today, November 2015, with who we have now, it will not be a decisive plan. Here's what we're going to do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
I have one question. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Another big thing is that like a lot of Arabic Americans, they feel like they're being targeted in a certain way because the way we speak on ISIS is more directed towards the religion rather than them being actually extremists. Mm-hmm. And me personally, sometimes I feel uncomfortable in certain situations. Mm-hmm. So do you feel like sometimes that we should like not monitor what we say at all because ISIS is bad. They don't need to be here. But at the same time, the people the Arabians that have been here already and that have been here in America for a long time and have generations here, mm-hmm. they shouldn't be targeted because they're just as American as anyone else.
Right, and that's a big point. Vlad's in my AP class and my other history classes, when we talk about ISIS, I flat out say, this is what it is. ISIS is an Islamic group, but they are a very extremist group. Not every Muslim, not every Islamic believer is an extremist believer.
Right.
So you just understand with ISIS, it is an extreme group, and not all Muslims, not all Islamic faith followers are part of an extreme group. I mean, I even made the joke as to say, okay, so every Christian is part of the KKK.
Exactly.
You've got different extremist groups, and it's not fair to judge a person based, well, let me figure out the way to put this, but basically what I'm saying.
You should respect others' religion.
Yeah, you should.
Despite anything, right?
Respect the person, respect, and okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. King.
Thank you,
for that
Vlad.
interview. Well, back to the newsroom.